Welcome back to another episode of On a Mission. I'm your host, Dr. Wendy Norfleet with Norfleet Integrated Solutions, and it is my pleasure to have with me today Paige Hakimian with Hakimian Holdings, and I'm hoping I'm saying this right. Welcome, Paige.
With Hakimian Holdings.
Okay,
yes,
Hakimian Holdings.
That was
Okay.
a wonderful attempt. Wendy, thank you so much. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today, and I so appreciate the invitation.
Well, thank you, Paige. And Paige, I'm going to start off by asking a little bit about you and how you got,
Sure.
interest in buying property.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So Hakimian Holdings, that brings up such warm associations for me. In a nutshell, Hakimian Holdings is a real estate holding and acquisition company. But it's a dream that started, goodness gracious, to give you some context. I was a 20-year-old real estate broker, and my husband, who was and still is probably the most strategic and brilliant thinker I have ever known, was a first-gen low-income college student and also an immigrant.
Oh, wow.
And we were really gritty and fearless. We used to drive around listening to Zig Ziglar tapes. We loved hearing a no because we knew we were one step closer to getting to our yes, and we got mountains and mountains of no's. But we eventually got some yeses. And from that, our real estate portfolio started to grow.
Wow.
And so today, that portfolio consists of about, give or take, 2.5 million square feet of primarily retail shopping center space, but we also have two professional office buildings, Class A. One is where we have our headquarters on the corner of JTB and 95 in Liberty Center.
Okay.
Yeah, and then our most recent acquisition, 245 Riverside, where the St. Joe building used to be.
Yes.
Yeah, which now so beautifully hosts the Raymond James banner across the St. Johns River.
Wow, that's great.
So, yeah.
So with all this space and the buildings, where's your focus? Where's your concentration?
That is a great question. So from the very beginning, Wendy, our values with our family, with our community, with our business have really been around three core elements. Certainly connection, contribution, and creativity. So connection within the community, for sure, especially within our tenant bases and our friends and families, but we really want to stay connected to the community. Contribution, how do we give back? How do we better where we live, where our children go to school? And lastly, creativity. How do we approach things in a novel way? How do we consider perspectives within the landscape that maybe we're missing? And so that really brought us to where I am now. About 15 years ago, we were very fortunate to be able to dedicate a permanent space that really highlights those things through our community advancement and development arm of the company. And we really focus on two things there.
Okay.
So our energy is around two types of problems. So one is acute. So for example, if there is a natural disaster or if for example, the pandemic.
Right.
So we recognized early on, we had thousands of tenants. I mean, brilliant, talented, certainly national tenants, right, that we all know. But largely it was mom and pop businesses, family businesses.
Really, businesses like the pandemic put many people out of business.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so we approached that in a novel way, back to the creativity. How could we support our tenants and at the same time help the problems that were going on in our community, specifically frontline workers, right? Healthcare workers. So we partnered with the University of Florida at Shands and with the University of Florida Family Practitioners. And then we went to our tenants and we said, hey, we want to buy meals from you. We want to buy desserts. We want to buy coffees.
So you actually were, whatever their business was, you were actually supporting them during that time.
Exactly. And so we were able then to link them back to the University of Florida, to the healthcare workers, and really provide much needed meals and services during that time. So the other arm that we really focus on is what I do on the day-to-day, which are more the chronic problems. And we developed, again, about 15 years ago, very specific programming, workshop series actually, for scholar athletes here in the community,
Mm-hmm.
primarily middle school and high school females that were looking to go to college. But they needed some help. They were coming from under-resourced, underrepresented communities, schools.
Right.
And we provided, by partnering through our connections
Mm-hmm.
with the St. John's Cathedral downtown in the Cathedral District, for space.
Mm-hmm.
And so we provide very targeted programming for leadership and goal development skills.
Oh, that is great.
We help them identify intrinsic motivation.
Mm-hmm.
We help them discover what their why is, and then we provide some hard skills like ACT and SAT skills. And it's been incredibly successful, so much so that some of the colleges here in town contacted us for very specific programming.
Wow.
So we've been doing that, but something really interesting happened, Wendy. Without fail, after each session, after Q&A, after
Mm-hmm.
we talked about scheduling and such, or specific items in the programming, the questions would devolve around some of the obstacles that are associated with chronic poverty. Housing insecurity, food insecurity.
Believe me, I sat on the board for PACE,
Yes, ma'am.
and you're familiar
Of
with PACE.
course,
So
yes.
yeah, and I sit on a couple other boards too, where we focus on that type. So believe me, I understand that.
It's a big ask, right? It's a big ask.
And in so many organizations, you would think that we could solve it, but it's like every organization, you undercover another group that,
It's so true.
it's hard. And people look at, all these groups are giving to those people. And I'm like, there's so many people that need help.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And what I realized was that I was not equipped. I did not want to answer with anecdotal, non-empirical help for them, right?
So you went and got the help you needed,
I
right?
I did.
Well, that's what a good leader does.
Well,
they realize
thank you.
that they're, we don't know everything.
No,
we have to go to other people.
absolutely. So I actually went back to school to get my master's in psychology. And it was while I was at Harvard developing my capstone that I actually was able to just connect with some brilliant minds up there, and developed a very targeted intervention, a workshop series actually for first-gen low-income students, college students, that really is an opportunity for them to increase positive spending and saving habits of grant and award monies.
So Paige,
Yes.
if the listeners here are, because I can go on talking to you, and I'm going to set up a coffee meeting with you because I would love to hear more.
Wonderful.
But for this, if somebody wants to learn more about your program or to reach out to you personally to maybe talk with you like I do,
I would love that.
How do they contact you?
My email is best, paige@hakimian.com. I'm going to spell that for you.
Okay.
It's Paige, Paige, at Hakimian, HAKIMIAN.US, like the United States. Yeah.
Okay, so not a .com.
Oh, sorry.
US. You actually said
I have
.com
so many emails. I have so many emails. Not that email. The US.
It's the
.US.
Okay,
yes,
right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to talk to you further about this, but I'm going to close us out.
Wonderful.
All right, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And to reach out to Paige, please reach out to her at Paige, Paige, at Hakimian, HAKIMIAN.US. And we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.